Welcome to our first day of class. One of our first things we have to go over today is the syllabus. So I'm sure you're going over syllabuses in other classes as well. What we're going to do today is we're just going to quickly look through the syllabus and we're going to make sure we all understand the important parts of it. The syllabus is a contract between you and I, and it just shows what my behavior expectations are for you, what I offer you as a student, and what my job is, what your job is, and you will sign it in another assignment. You will sign it and submit it, and then that is a contract between us. So whether you watch this full video, which I suggest you do because I go over the important parts of it, or you read it on your own, which you're welcome to do too if you learn better that way, remember you are signing a contract. So do not sign a contract that you have not read, okay? So let's go ahead and get started on the syllabus. You each can download this to your iPad, and you should do that because you'll have to sign it. So if you're watching the video, just follow along here. Okay, so welcome to English with Mrs. Harris. First thing I like to point out is that you're now in high school, okay? So I expect more of you than your teachers probably expected from you in 8th grade. That's good. That's a sign you're growing up, getting older. You're one step closer to being an adult. So what I like to say is the first person who should talk to me is you. I shouldn't talk to your parents first. I should talk to you first. And then if your parents have questions, if your parents need anything from me, of course they're welcome to email me. I love talking to parents, but I won't send letters home, that sort of thing. You're expected to be on top of deadlines, when things are due, what supplies you need for class, any information I tell you in class. It's your job to communicate that to your parent if you need their help in accomplishing whatever it is that I'm asking you to do, okay? I also have a class remind. Go ahead and sign up for Remind with your parents. Have them sign up, have you sign up, and then you can get my notifications on there. I try not to send out unnecessary things via Remind, so please pay attention to that. If I'm sending something out on Remind, it's important. Most importantly, we have right here our behavior expectations. These are going to be on the quiz for sure. Okay, so this is what I expect from you when you enter my classroom. You're respecting yourself and others. You are taking care of yourself. You're being nice to the people around you. You're not doing anything to somebody else you wouldn't want them to do back to you. Okay? We're using appropriate language. I have a more detailed section on that later. We're going to follow all the school's policies. So if the school already has a policy, that is obviously an enforcement in my classroom. It's my job as a teacher to enforce all the policies that are in your student handbook, all the policies that come down from Mr. Gordy. It's my job to enforce those, okay? I also need you, most importantly, to try your hardest, okay? And I say try your hardest because I set expectations for you, and some people may have different expectations in class, but I don't want you to ever feel like you're not good enough. As long as you're trying, you're good enough, okay? And it's my job to come and help you achieve more things, all right? So I should see you in class at least trying to do a problem, trying to read, trying to understand the new skill, and then if you need help, of course, I will help you more or less depending on what you ask of me, what I see you need, but I need you to do your job as a student because I can't copy and paste what's in my head to yours, right? Okay, and most importantly, you need to be awake, right? I have a whole section on sleeping. You need to be awake in class or there's no point in being there. Be a team player, okay? This will take you the furthest in life, and it's my goal not to just make you great at English 1, but to really prepare you for the real world, okay? What is going to happen after your first 4 years in high school, whether you go to college, whether you get a job, whatever you want to do for the rest of your life, I want to help you, and being a team player is a skill I try and teach in my classroom because no matter where you go in life, you're going to need to work with other people, even if it's online, okay? So, grades. Any grades put in the grade book are put there to show how hard you're working in class, how well you understand the skills that are taught in English, okay? So just because you have a bad grade doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means that we have something we need to work on, okay? Anything we do, inside or outside of class, is fair game, okay? Oops, didn't mean for that to happen. Is fair game. So that means that if I ask you to do it, I can grade it, okay? I grade projects, discussions, classwork, assessments, and writing, okay? Anything like that can be, sometimes I'll grade participation as well. Anything like that can be put in the grade books. So make sure you're doing everything, because there will be days where I assign 5 assignments and maybe only 1 grade will go on the grade book. Make sure you do all of the assignments so that you're getting grades for things. This is our school's grading scale. You can find this in the school handbook as well. I also like to post it on my board in class. So there's the school's grading scale for you. Beginning of class procedures. This is what you're expected to do. You're supposed to get out the materials you need. You're responsible. I have supplies in my room. Depending on how we need to sanitize things this year, we'll see how that goes. But I usually try and have extra pencils in case students need them. So it's your job to make sure you have those when the bell rings. Find your seat and start the bell ringer. I will always have something to do on the board when you come into class. That is what you will get started with. You shouldn't be waiting around. This is not time for socialization. You come into class, you sit down, and you get your work done. End of class. Write down any notes you need, any homework, any dates. Clean up your area. We will have people in charge of sanitation. Put papers in the appropriate location, or screenshots. Make sure you save things to your iPad where it needs to go. Walk out of class in a cool and collected manner, okay? So I will dismiss you, not the bell. Homework expectations. Okay, now that we have things online on the iPads and Google Classroom, it may seem like there's a lot of homework, but I'm assigning things that are to be done in the same window of time that they would have been done in class. So if you're learning from home one day, I'm assigning you the same work as the people who are working in class are assigned. If we have people working in class and we have people working online, or if everyone's working online, it should take you the right amount of time, the same amount of time that you would be in class. So it's your job to kind of get into that swing of time management and making sure you're doing things in an efficient way so that it's not taking longer than it would have taken sitting in my classroom. So I'm not assigning homework necessarily online. Some assignments may be homework, and I'll, make note of those. But most of this stuff should take the same amount of time as class. Just because it's posted on Google Classroom doesn't mean it's homework, because we will be doing some of the Google Classroom things in the classroom. We will be doing them in the classroom as well, those assignments. My restroom policy, I have a strict restroom policy. Students are given 2 restroom passes per grading term that they may use at my discretion, so I still have to give you permission to use those. They're non-transferable. You cannot hand them to somebody else. They're yours and you use them, and if you keep them and you don't use them, you'll get extra credit for them. Honesty policy, okay? If you give me an assignment with your name on it, you're saying, I did this assignment, okay? I completed this assignment on my own if you use your name on it. That's like signing a contract, okay? So if you sign something, you turn it in on Google Classroom, you hand it to me in person. If you are the person handing it in, your name's on it digitally or physically, you're saying you did that whole thing. Don't copy and paste offline. It's very easy to find. Google Classroom has a plagiarism checker built in, and I am pretty good, I think, at knowing who you are as a writer. And I know when your style has changed, just because I love reading and writing that my students do. I love to grade writing and read writing, so I will know if you are probably not using your own words. So I'd much rather you use your own words and get a lower grade than get a 0 because you didn't feel like you could do it. Okay, ask me for help if you feel like something is impossible. If you miss work because you weren't in school, it will be on Google Classroom. But if you feel like you need help or clarification, you can send me a message on Remind. You can send me a message through Google Classroom. You can email me or talk to me the next time you're physically in the classroom. But try and be on top of things, especially since things are online. There shouldn't be an excuse for not knowing what was happening. Okay, so I've asked a lot of you. I've told you what I expect out of you, and there have been a few times where I've mentioned if you have questions, message me. So that's where we get into teacher responsibilities. What should you expect from me? Well, I plan, organize, and implement the correct curriculum according to the state, according to Natchitoches Parish, what my bosses want me to do. It's my job to follow all of their rules and what they're asking of me. And they're asking for me to deliver curriculum to you that's going to help you learn and help you succeed on the state tests and hopefully in the rest of your life. So I'm also going to be there to answer your questions. I'm also there to, help you in any way you need it. Tutoring with I before E, if we need to pull you out and do something specific, that's my responsibility, okay? So help me out with that a little bit just by, if you have a question, if you need something from me, let me know, okay? My number one goal in this class is to educate and deliver class content. That is the foremost reason I'm here. So my job every day is to teach teach what I'm supposed to teach with the curriculum. So that is why I have to have behavior expectations, because if you come into class talking or you're having a problem with someone in the classroom, that's going to take away from my number one goal, which is to educate you and to give everyone a fair education. And for everyone to get a fair education, we have to all make sure we're doing our best to be active listeners and that we're doing our best to be in the classroom and we're not taking away from someone else's education by distracting them in the classroom. So the nature of this class, I like to tell students that this class is very collaborative, which means we have a lot of class discussions, we work a lot with partners, and we're going to see how that works this year given health and safety regulations, but usually I really try and get you guys working with partners and such, so it'll just look a little different this year. But I still like to have a lot of discussions and work with groups, and it's important that when we're sharing our opinions in class, we're respectful of other people's opinions. My goal as a teacher, as an English teacher, if I ever kind of direct something you're saying, my goal is to not influence your views or to change your views, but to help you develop them and express them in a more academic way. So if I say, okay, let's see how we're saying that, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying, how can you change what you're saying in a more academic way? Maybe in a way that's less hurtful to other people's feelings or in a way that makes your argument come across clearer. Appropriate language, like I said, we talk a little bit more about this. So this is a professional environment as a school. I'm a professional. Your job is to be students, and we should only be using respectful and appropriate language with each other. Okay, so that includes obviously no swearing, no derogatory comments. So that's just saying something to someone in a mean way. It doesn't even have to be a bad word or mean something bad. It's just the way we say it. We should be nice to each other with our words in this classroom. And that especially goes with online too. Remember, anything you say online, the school has access to, it's recorded. We should be treating other people with respect online as well. In my classroom, I don't allow people to talk about others in gossipy ways, no other teachers. Stay in your lane and keep what we're talking about in class should be about the class subject. Sleeping. Your first offense, I'm going to wake you up, ask you to stand in class. Your second offense, I'm going to call home and talk to your parent or guardian, explain that you've been sleeping in class and that it can be very hurtful to your education if you're sleeping in class, because if we're listening to an audiobook, you're going to miss the audiobook. If we're having discussions, you're going to miss those, and it can end up in a major referral. If you're not following what I'm asking you to do in class, then you're going to be referred to one of the principals, and it will be documented in the computer. And if anyone has special needs, I will accommodate those. If you feel like you need extra services than what you're getting in class, please let me know and we'll talk about that. And then at the very end, you are just going to, you and your parent or guardian are going to sign this. I need your parent's most current phone number here so that if I have any questions, I can contact them, and their email will be helpful for me. And sign this, and there's another video that shows you how you can upload it. It's a separate assignment, but you'll have to download this and sign it. If you have any questions before you do that, just message me and let me know. Thank you for listening.